This conference will now be recorded.
Hi. So, in our last class, we discussed about the creation of the methods and so what are the ways we can create a methods and what are the types and what are the parameters value we can pass and how many arguments is going to take. So, what is the purpose of creation of the methods? We aware of it. So today's class we are discussing creation of the constructors. So what it mean by constructors and what is the purpose of the constructors? So why we need to create a constructors and what is the syntax of the constructors? So these are the information we will discuss in this today's class. So let's move. So if you want to create a constructor, so the first thing it should be so constructor should be matched to the class name which we created a class. So for example here, so what class we created yesterday? So we created a class name called the box. So if you want to create a constructor of the box class, so what is the steps? And so steps here is we need to make a class name as a constructor. So we need to use class name as a constructor name. So in the previous class, we used a different name as a method name. For example, like, so we use the value. So here it is a method. But whereas in the constructor, we need to use the same name as a class name. Box is equals to new box. So I am going to create a constructor. This is all about the constructor we can call it as. So we are making the constructor name as a box name and we are opening one braces and closing the one braces. It means it's it's a default constructor we can call it as. So so how we can declare the default constructor means this is the way of declaring the default constructors. So and once we declare the constructor, so what is the flow and how the thread is going to work? So how the thread is going to work means, so let's open. See, in Java, it's executing. In Java, the main thing is up to public static void main we know the main method is calling from JVM. So once this main method is calling from the JVM, again the line number 3 is going to execute. So because in Java every how many lines of code we write is going to execute line by line. So for example, is execute the line number 2, again come to the line number 3. At line number 3, it's showing that it is then a box is a what type? It is a class type. Is the name of the class. And here what it's defining. So by using the new keyword, we are going to create an object for the box, right? So be aware of it, how we can create an object. So this is the way we need to use, and this by using this new keyword we are going to create an object. So now, so what it's contain? It is in a constructor of the class. So now when the thread is identified the particular constructor of the class, so what we'll do is going to check the constructor in the class, the particular class. So because in the box class, we as of now we did not create any constructor. So here we did not create any constructor. Now what will happen? So if you are not going to create any constructor, so it's only applicable the default constructor is so the super class of the all classes. In Java we have one class. It's a super class for the all the classes. So what is the class name? Class object. So in Java we have one class. So what class name called object. So object is the super class for all the classes we can call it as. in the super class we have a default constructor. So how the default constructor is available, like object, open braces and close braces. So this constructor is going to execute if we are not defining any constructor in our class, in our particular class. So what is your particular class? Here it is box class. So this is all about the flow. So once this line number, where the line number 3 is executed, after line number 3 execution, now what will happen is going to check the double value. So as of now, don't worry about the double while, because now we are discussing about the creation of the constructor. So now what I'm doing here is I'm creating a one more constructor. So one more constructor means how we can create a constructor. So box1 is equals to new box, and I'm passing the parameters called 10 comma 10 comma 20. And I want to tell you one thing here. So I want to provide some information like, see, by seeing it the constructor, we can observe that it is the what in which class constructor we can know that. And so just observe the volume also having the some same braces and close open braces and close braces. Whereas in the book constructor also is having the same open braces and close braces. But here the condition is so whenever we are creating any constructor, it does not have any return type, even though it's not it's not a void, because when we discuss in the yesterday class, so we know that we can provide the return type. It's a void, it is an integer type, it is an object type, it is in a float, it is in double. So we can define the particular object what are the method is doing based on the parameters. So we can define the same return type, like it's a taking the parameter double, we can return the double type. Whereas it's come to the constructor level, it's taking the arguments as a double, but we are not returning, even though we are not going to make void also, because internally it uses a class type. So the return type should be class type. So this is all about the constructors, and what is the purpose of the constructor is, so if you want to initialize an object, so when creating an object we are initializing the object. So for this purpose we will use.
This conference will now be recorded.
So here the thing is the constructor is not going to return anything, so even though it is a void. So if you are making the void, so it will not return, like it will not going to give any some exception or any error. So just is showing some warning message called it is not a void, it's not a method. So live some warning message we are going to get it, but so we are not, it is not using as per the Java standards. We are not going to use return type for the constructor. So now the thing is, whenever we define the parameterized constructor, so if you are trying to call the default constructor, so at the time is going to get some error. So why the error is going to happen? Because see, let's see, we will run some program to observe. So what kind of error we are going to get it? So we are passing in 1020 here, and let's move to the Java and write box double width double height. And now width is equals to W, height is equals to H. I'm closing the constructor and saving the both object, saving the both object. So let's do, and we will write something called, okay, so go to the command prompt cmd, where exactly our code has saved, cd paste. So java c box demo dot java. Let's compile. So it's showing some exception call. So box2. Okay. Let's remove the box2 information here. Again compile. See, observe the information here. What it's showing. Here is it's showing an information like constructor box in the class box cannot be applied to given types, and the box new box is equals to the default parameter as the constructor. But here taking the parameter called double, right? So this is all about the parameter constructor. So what I'm trying to say here is, so if you are creating a parameterized constructor, so we need to create a default constructor as well. So if you are calling the default constructor, so in the main, I provide the information. If we have only default constructors, so without defining or without declaring in the particular class, the default constructor, we are not going to get any error or exception. Even though we are defining the parameters constructor, it's recommended to define the default constructor as well. So this is all about the constructor. And we know that, so it's the default constructor, how it will work. Let's run our program called default constructors, like just comment out. Let's again compile the same program. Here, so now why we got an error means, just comment out the same code here. So this is all about the double line comments, we can call it as. Let's compile the same program. What's showing here is volume. So it's not related to our constructor related information. So make it as so. Okay. Now again we will run the same program. See, it's compiled successfully. So that's the main reason. If you are declaring, if you are initializing, or if you are calling the default constructor of the particular class, in our example we are using the box class, so it's not recommended to define. Whereas when we are using the parameterized constructor, it is recommended to use default constructor as well. So this is all about the default constructors and parameterized constructors. Now we will move to the object references. So how we can pass object as a parameter, object as a parameter. So in this case, let's open all the comments. So how we can create an object reference box to new box. I'm passing a box to reference, sorry, one reference. So this is all about the we know that box one is a reference of this class, this object, right? So this reference I'm passing to the one more object to create an object. So we can call it as this information, we can call it as a object reference, we can call it as. Here we are passing an object reference to the the particular constructor to initialize an object, to create an object. So this is all about the object references. When we pass any object reference, the it's mandatory to define or declare in our particular class. So how is going to happen here is the box one class, we need to open the parameters constructor as well as default constructor also. In the default constructor, what I'm doing here is just I'm printing the system.out.println. Default constructor. Default constructor. See, so this is all about the default constructor. Now what I'm doing here is I'm creating a object reference constructor. Object reference constructor means, so we need to define, like we need to define the constructor by passing the box ob. So this is all about the object reference, we can call it as. Here what I'm doing is width is equals to ob dot width, right? And height is equals to ob dot height, and okay, depth is equals to ob dot depth. So this is all about the object reference, we can call it as. So how this object reference is going to work? So now we can save the program and save the both programs, compile object c demo.java. What it's showing here is box one cannot find the symbol. Let's open. So the box one is not available, I think. So here it's having, right, box one. Okay. So the main mistake what we did here is, here it's B the capital letter of the B, but we need to take the small letter. So this is the small mistake we did. Now save, come to the command prompt. So it's successfully compiled. So once it's successfully compiled, what we can do, Java box demo, right? So default constructor is called and volume of box2 reference is 0.0. So it means is executed both the constructors. So it means it executed box1 as well as box2. Here box2 value, why we got a 0, 0. So let's open the box object, return with box2 return value width height depth is correct, but open the, okay, see, any idea? Because we are multiplying the values, because we have a three variables, we have three variables. So in that we provide the only two values. The one more is, it's the default value as 0, 0. If you are multiplying any values with 0, 0, what is the output we are going to get? It 0, 0. So that is the purpose we got an output, how much? 0, 0. So this is all about we can call it as constructor of Java, and how we can create a constructor, and what are the steps to create a constructor, and parameter constructor, how the parameter constructor will work, and how the object reference constructor also it will work. And now I will tell you one more thing here is, so when we are very when we are having the same variables, when we are having the same, when we are having the same name of the variables. So what it means? So what it means here, the here, so W and H, right? So W and H, but if we provide the full name of the W, width, and H equals to height, and when we assign to the W equal to W and H equal to H, so what it means? So we aware of it, the scope of the variables. When we discuss about the scope of the variables, so how at how much time the values available in the particular place when we initialize the particular variable. Here, I want to tell you one thing. I want to tell you. So W width, W width it created, and height. So now let's here value width and height. So it's matching the same. So if you provide the both local variables and global variables same name, then the Java is going to treat both as a local variable. Both as a local variable. So if both as a local variables, so what will happen? So what will happen? So we know that scope of the variables. Once the constructor of this box is executed, once the constructor of the box is executed, the values become 0 because the local values of the scopes are stored in the stack memory. So once the box constructor is executed, the stack memory is going to destroy. So once stack memory is destroyed, again is checking again we are doing some operation on the global variables. So once the global variables not initialized yet, so what is the default values? 0.0. If you do any operations on the 0.0, the values become 0 only. So now if we want to in future, if we get the two variables name as the same name, so then it's maybe some big problem. But in Java we have a concept called this. So what it means? This means, so this is the this. So this concept come into the picture to differentiate the local variables and global variables. Let's run our program. Now what we will do here is, so for our purpose we can print the values. uh, where we can print the values here, like, okay, system.out.println with the value. So for observe, for understand purpose, I'm printing the width value, right? Mm, Same compile. So something we missed somewhere. Semicolon we missed, I think. Hide, constructor, and okay. After calling the parameters constructor, you can print this information inside the object reference column. So come to this. Okay, it's compiled successfully and execute. So width of volume is 0 0. See, we are passing the values. Where we are passing the values? So this is our second statement. We are passing in a values. So now we got a some doubt. In the previous example, we got a 0.0. Now also we got a 0.0. Some people think so. We multiply the values, it becomes 0. Now what I will do? I will assign one more value. How much? How much? 15. So let's say again compile. Okay, sorry, we don't have the 3 parameterized constructor. We have only 2 parameters constructor, right? So this is our 2 parameters constructor. Just define double depth. Here what we can do, depth is equal to depth. So this now it's become 3 parameterized constructor. Let's clean and JavaScript box demo. So it's compiled successfully and execute. So now also the values are 0 0. Now also the values are 0 0. Now what we can do here is box 1 we can make it compile and execute. Something called the reference of the box. So we need to get to some of the values, right? Yes. So this is the main thing only, right? See, this is what I am trying to provide the information here. So now I will tell you the flow of the execution. What will happen? So once the line number 4, right? Once the line number 4 is come to, it's trying to execute. What will happen? Is going to check in the box class. So the line number 10 is going to execute, right? This line number 10 is executed, and once it's executed, the values are assigned to the width, height, and the depth, right? Once they come out of this box constructor, the values are become 0. If we're trying to multiply the values 0 0 0, again we are going to 0 only, right? Right. So now the outputs came as a zeros only, right? The output also reference 0 and the width volume also 0. Huh? Now what I will do here, I will change the some logic to this dot this dot so this dot. Now copy and the same, compile and run. See, just see the magic here. 10 the width value and the reference is 3000. So just adding this keyword to the box constructor and the values came. So this is all about the magic of this keyword. How this key is going to work to differentiate the local variables and the global variables. So this is all about so this keyword information. Just do the practice on this keyword, because what will happen internally we observed, right? So if this information we did not provide this information, so we know that in the stack memory we have a box constructor, right? in the box constructor, it's taking three parameters. Right? It's taking three parameters. So what are the values here? 10 and 20 and one more is 15, right? So these values available up to the this box constructor is execution. This box constructor is execution. Once this box constructor is execution, the static memory is going to destroy. For this purpose, the values become 0, 0. The initial value, the default values are the default values per data type is double is 0, 0.0. So we observe and we already provide the information, default values information. So the same default values we are using here. So that's the reason we are getting in a 0, 0 output. So this is all about the magic of the this keyword, how this keyword is going to work. And now I will tell you the one more topic here is one more topic here is so in box demo in box demo what we are doing here is in box demo we are creating a three objects we are creating a three objects so with the name of the box 1 and box 2, right? So if we create the three objects, so those objects where those objects are going to store, so where those objects are going to store in heap memory, these three objects are going to store. So in so these are all about the box, and this one is b1 box 1 reference, and this one is box 2 reference. These three are the box reference, we can call it as, right? In the box reference we have having the, but it is a default constructor. We don't have a values, but it is a parameters constructor is having the 10 and 20 and 15, right? So and b box 2 reference also is contain same values because we are passing a box 1 reference to the box 2. That's the reason the values are same. The values are same, right? 10, 20 and 15. Now my question is, once our operation is completed, who is going to destroy this object? Because in stock memory we observe is once the thread of operation is completed,
This conference will now be recorded.
so now we have some doubt, right? So how these objects are going to destroy? Because in stack memory, once a thread of operation is executed, the values and methods and variables are is going to destroy. But whereas in our line number, if the cursor, if the thread is come to the line number 6, so here also the values are going to be destroyed, right? But the values are not destroying because we are able to access the, we are accessing the we are accessing the we are accessing the volume of the box 1, right? But we are getting the values of some 3000 some values we are getting. What happening internally, why this object are is not going to destroy? So the thing is, the beauty of Java is in the in JVM we have a method called finalize. So in the garbage collection, we have a one good concept in Java, that is a garbage collection. As of now, don't worry. So as of now, don't worry, because we have a time to discuss the garbage collection. But now I will provide some basic information how the finalize method is going to call, because once the operation is completed, the JVM is going to call finalize method to execute the to execute the to destroy the object. So the finalize method is, once the finalize method is called, the object are going to destroy it. So this is all about the this this is the way the object are destroyed from the heap memory. Now I will tell you one more thing. So if we want to call the finalize method from our code to once our operation is successfully completed, what it means, like here I want to write a finalize method. Finalize method. In that, what I'm trying to provide, box is equals to null, and box one is equals to null, and whereas the box two also null, and close the protected void finalize method. Protected void finalize method. So if you're trying to call this finalize method and we make the references as to null, once the reference to null, so in heap memory, objects are available, but they are not pointing to any class. They are not pointing to any object, because in the heap memory we have the values 20, 10, and 15. Those are pointing to box 1 reference, right? Those are pointing to box 1 reference. If the b1 become null, the relation is going to remove. The relation is going to remove, because the b1 is not pointing to anywhere. So then the b1 object, what are the objects are available in heap memory, so those objects are is going to destroy. But so this is the way we can define our references to null, so that whatever the objects are available in heap memory, so those are going to destroy. Once objects are destroyed, so we cannot roll back it. So we cannot roll back it. So this is all about the process of creation, and this is all about the destroying the object, we can call it as. So now, so we got some informations called, so how we can destroy the object, and how the difference stack memory and the heap memory. So stack memory is contain one thread of execution. So once the particular operations, mean it's the constructor, it's a method, it's executed. So the local values, the local variable values are is going to become 0. Whereas in the heap memory, if you are trying to make the references to null, then only the heap memory object are going to destroy. Otherwise, in Java, in object class, we have some finalize method. So once the JVM is going to call the finalize method, then this object is going to destroy it. So this is the beauty of the heap memory and the stack memory. So this is all about the today's class, like creation of the constructors, and how we can create the parameterized constructors, and how we can create the object or like constructor references, and whereas how this keyword is going to work, and this object destroying. So today is the very important class. Please be prepared and create number of objects and number of classes, and create more constructors, and do more practice, so that it is easy to to get tomorrow's classes. And because tomorrow is the big important class we are going to discuss, it is a method overloading. It is one of the oops concept, we can call it as. So don't miss, tomorrow is the important class. So, so we will see in the tomorrow's class.